Okay, in this video we're going to look at run-on sentences. First, let's define what a sentence is. A sentence is essentially someone or something, that's the subject of a sentence, doing or being something, and that's the main verb. Now we have a special term for a subject plus a main verb, and that is an independent clause. So if you have one independent clause, you have a sentence. Okay, it's very important to realize because I'm going to be using that term throughout this video. Okay, let's look at some correct sentences with one independent clause in them. Jennifer slept. We have a subject, Jennifer, doing something, slept. That's the main verb. Perfectly good sentence, not a run-on. It's fine. Another one, Mary was on time. We have a subject and a main verb, so we have one independent clause. It's all good. So what do I mean by a run-on sentence? Well, a run-on sentence is essentially a sentence with two or more independent clauses that are not properly connected. Okay? In other words, two sets of subject plus verb. If you want to put more than one set of subject plus verb, you have to be, in a sentence, you have to be very careful. So let's look at some examples of run-on sentences. Mary was on time, Sam was late. Here we have two independent clauses. Mary was on time and Sam was late. In the same sentence. You can't do that. Okay? That is considered a run-on. Another example. Mary was on time, Sam was late. Here, the writer tried to connect these two independent clauses with a comma. You can't do that. That's another run-on. Mary was on time, however, Sam was late. Again, this is a run-on. Essentially what the writer is doing is they are putting two independent clauses in the same sentence, trying to connect them with a comma and the word however, and you can't do that. These are run-ons and they need to be corrected. Let's look at how we can correct them. Fixing run-on sentences. The first way is the simplest way, and that's to separate the two independent clauses with a period. So just create two separate sentences. Mary was on time, period. Sam was late. So we have two independent clauses. Mary was on time, Sam was late, and we've separated them with a period. Perfectly fine. That's a good way of fixing a run-on. Another way is to join the two independent clauses with a semicolon, which acts very much like a period. Okay, Mary was on time, semicolon, Sam was late. This is good. We have one independent clause, Mary was on time, another one, Sam was late, and we've inserted here a semicolon to join them into the same sentence. Okay, so in essence, it kind of works like a period. Now, if you want to, you can put a conjunctive adverb in with the second independent clause. In this time, we've used the conjunctive adverb, however. Mary was on time, so here's our first independent clause. And our second independent clause includes the conjunctive adverb, however. However, Sam was late. So again, we've joined the two independent clauses in the same sentence with a semicolon. Now it's important to note that you can throw that conjunctive adverb, however, anywhere you want in that second independent clause. So you can say, if you want, Mary was on time, semicolon. Sam, however, was late. So in this second independent clause, however, can be put really anywhere you want. Just separate it from the rest of the independent clause with commas. Now, these conjunctive adverbs, there's many of them, many more than just the word however. And I like to call them transitions. So however is one, therefore, moreover, otherwise, consequently, then, furthermore, likewise. There's lots of conjunctive adverbs. Just to go back for 1 second, you might be asking, well, why do we bother using a semicolon if we have periods? Well, we use semicolons when the two independent clauses, Mary was on time and Sam was late, when they're closely related. You would use a semicolon instead of a period. Okay, another way to fix a run-on sentence is by creating one sentence with a subordinate clause and one independent clause. Let's look at what I'm talking about. Although Mary was on time, Sam was late. Here, this is a perfectly good sentence because all we have is one independent clause. Sam was late. See? And like I said before, it's okay to have one independent clause in a sentence. So this is the only one we have. Here, although Mary was on time is a modifier. It's a subordinate clause. It cannot stand independently. Okay? So this is a subordinate clause or a modifier, and it can't stand independently. And the reason this is a subordinate clause and can't stand independently is because of that word although. It's called a subordinate conjunction. Okay, if you put a subordinate conjunction like the word although in front of Mary was on time, which was an independent clause on its own, it creates a subordinate clause that can't stand alone. So in this sentence, it's perfectly fine because we only have one independent clause. Here's another one. It works. Because Mary was on time, Sam was late. Whenever Mary was on time, Sam was late. All of these, although, because, and whenever, are subordinate conjunctions. If you put them in front of Mary was on time, all of a sudden this becomes a subordinate clause. And we only have one independent clause in these sentences, so they're all perfectly fine. They're not run-ons. We fixed the run-ons. There are many subordinate conjunctions. Here's a few. After, although, because, before, if, since, unless, when, whenever. There are lots of them. Another way to fix a run-on is to join the two independent clauses with a coordinating conjunction. And in our D2L grammar, you're going to see a lot of this. Mary was on time, but Sam was late. This is very, very important. We have two independent clauses. Mary was on time, Sam was late. Okay? These are two separate independent clauses. Right? Okay. And they're in the same sentence. And the sentence is correct. And the reason it's correct is because of that word right there, but. But can join two independent clauses in the same sentence. But is called a coordinating conjunction. Okay, that's a pretty fancy term. We have a better term for a coordinating conjunction. And we like to use the term fanboys. And what do I mean by that? Here's what I mean. There are only 7 words in the English language that can connect two independent clauses in the same sentence. Those 7 words are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Those are the only 7 words that can join two independent clauses in the same sentence. Okay? And the reason we say fanboys is we have an acronym. F-A-N-B-O-Y-S. Fanboys. And again, those are the only terms. So, however can't join them, it would be a run-on. Therefore can't join them, it would be a run-on. But you can use a comma and but or comma and it's perfectly fine. Very, very important. Now, in conclusion, it's really important to be able to identify parts of a sentence when you have to avoid run-ons and fragments and all that sort of thing. So if you ever want to learn how to identify sentence parts, please visit the Sentence Discovery app. It's a free app produced by Canadore College, and it'll help you a lot with these grammar rules. Thank you.